Can you hear the, what do you call that in English again? An orgel? Like the music instrument in every church. My brain is not fun. Can you hear it? Oh, it's so beautiful. Anyway, I thought of, I'm not sniffing my fingers, I'm like, it's hand cream, or body cream actually. It's the collection from last year, the Christmas collection from last year. But it smells so autumny, it smells so good. I don't exactly remember what smells these were, but I would drink this if I could. It smells like it could be a great tea. I would love that. But it's the time of the year. Soon we in Europe, here in Belgium, have to change the clock. Yeah, that's the thing we still do. What kind of old times are we living in? Changing the clock? Why? Well, because we're going from summertime to wintertime soon, and we have to. Do you have to put the clock back or forward? I don't know actually. I think we have to put the clock forward. Does that mean I can sleep an hour extra? I think it is. No, I'm gonna sleep an hour less. Oh no. Anyway, I busted out my hand knitted sweaters. By the way, I just finished this one like this week. It has this beautiful thing in the back. Look at that. Oh, and you can also see my mistake. Hold on, let me take the other side. No mistakes here. Look at that. So clean. Anyway, busted out the new sweater. Got my hand cream. That smells amazing. Got myself a hot cup of coffee and a not so hot waffle, Belgian waffle. It was hot when I bought it, but it's not anymore. It's with cinnamon. That is autumn. So good. Anyway, I wanted to talk about books that get me into the fall vibes, the autumn vibes, like summer turning into winter and everything in between. The leaves falling, rain, lots of rain here in Belgium, heavy winds, all of those things. I personally love it. I'm in love with autumn. Every year I find autumn time the most magical time of the year, even though spring is so magical too because new leaves, flowers, all of that. But something about fall, about autumn, the decay of things, the change you feel, even in people you can feel it. Like some people are very different. I love all of that, the magic of it. And I used to have, when I was a teenager, I used to have the habit of reading Harry Potter, the entire series, all 7 books, in September. Why September? Was when we had to go back to school, and me as a teenager and a young adult going back to school. I loved school, but the whole act of going there, it needed a little motivation. And for me, the Harry Potter series, Harry going back to school, to Hogwarts, all of that, colder times coming, the whole feasts in the Great Hall with the pumpkins, and then with Christmas, with the big Christmas trees, the snow, the environment, all of that. I was so sucked up in all of that and the atmosphere of it, and I loved that about those books. Like I said, I love the books, the writer. We're just gonna, as much as we can, separate the art from the artist here. But I've read the books in multiple languages over multiple years, so many times, and I kind of outgrew it because I did it last year or 2 years ago for the last time, and I was like, you know what, it's not doing it for me anymore. So I needed to get into other books in September to get me into those autumn vibes. And then I also like to read, like in October I try to go more towards spooky vibes, spooky books, because we have Halloween coming and all of that. And you know, during November when we're going more to winter, I like to keep the spooky vibes on, but I like to keep it on with more of a detective kind of thing, like mystery detective, police work, that kind of thing. And I thought, let me share some books that for me are really screaming autumn vibes and really have, like, really bring you into that seasonal vibe and atmosphere and like all of that. And I'm gonna divide it into categories because we have the cozy reads, then we have the more like I said, mystery novel, murder, those detective kind of things, and then we have just things that are outright spooky and weird and like magical. Because to me, September, we have so much magic happening in September, and it's hard to explain. It's mostly a vibe that I have, but September is magical while October is more spooky. I don't know, there's like a separation for me between magic, like fairies, magic like fairies, and Harry Potter, which is not spooky. And then October is more like spooky and horror and all of that. And then November, I'm like, this is such a depressing time, November. The weather is gray and rainy and ugh. And you know what? I could kill somebody if I had to be in a house all day with a man who I loaded, and you know, it's raining and you can't go out and you can't do anything. Yeah, I would turn to murder too. So I instead chose to read a book about murder instead of commit murder. I think that's a good solution. So I wanted to go over these things, and I first wanted to go over books that I have read or I have read partially, that really give me that autumn vibe, you know, that lovely autumn vibe that we love so much. I have not put my books into proper stacks. I just realized. Let me do that real quickly. Oh yeah, hard choices have to be made, but we'll get there. Okay, we did it. There we go. That's good. Okay. This is the stack for September of books that I have read over the years that really give me that vibe. And we're gonna start with The Hobbit. Why do I like to read The Hobbit in September? Mostly because it's an adventure and they go on this whole thing, and it's a Hobbit. There's like elves in it and everything. That feels quite magical to me. It's also a feel-good book. Like I said, Harry Potter to me was a feel-good book. The Hobbit is also a feel-good book. And the whole magic behind it, Tolkien is such a genius. And The Hobbit was the first book that I read before diving into the whole Lord of the Rings series, which I, by the way, read this year. I read every single Lord of the Rings series and watched all the movies. Book series. No. I'm planning to read the, what is the name again? The Cimmerian? What was the name of the book? I lost my phone. How do we lose a phone? I have no clue. I did. Which is lovely feeling, actually, not having my phone near me. Yay. But The Hobbit to me is such an autumny book because of the whole magic aspect, and it's so comforting. It's like a good book to curl up with on a bad day, a rainy day, a gray day, a windy day, and just be like, let me get cozy with a blanket and some tea. And this book itself is a warm blanket and some tea for me, because it's so heartwarming. All the characters in here, the companionship, everything. Same with Lord of the Rings. The first book, the companionship, the Oh, I love that. How much they love each other. Like, oh, I want a friend group like that. I have a fan group. I have some friends like that. But not, we don't go on adventures with a magical ring. Yeah, we don't do that. The dragon in here, I don't like dragons. I'm not that kind of fancy girly to be reading books about dragons. I know we're here. Some of y'all do. I'm okay with that. You can do. My friend loves those books. Multiple of my friends love those books. I'm not a dragon girly. I'm so sorry. I can deal with elves. I can deal with hobbits. I can deal with one dragon here. It's a good dragon. But I can't deal with the other dragon stuff that's out there. And it's good if you do. If it's your thing, keep on going. But this is my thing, and this is as far as we go with dragons. So don't expect more. Love it though. The next book is The Overstory by Richard Powers. And the reason why I recommend this book in autumn is because we see the change in the trees, and this book is all about trees. And I read this last year. It took me almost half a year to read the full book, but I actually didn't read it like physically. I didn't go through this book at all. I listened to the audiobook while I was on walks in the forest. And it was so magical in that half year that I was reading this book to see the forest change. Because I started somewhere at the end, like somewhere halfway spring up until halfway autumn, entirely through summer. And listening to this and then being surrounded by trees was so magical. It was such a brain chemistry shift for me, this book. And the hikes, like listening to it while hiking, was the best choice I ever could have made. I'm in love with trees now. Yeah, I don't think I could ever marry a person, because there's trees out there, guys. There's little trees deserving of my love, loving me back. No, it's not that extreme, but I do look at trees in a different way now because of this book. And I think autumn is all about the change of the season, the leaves falling down of the trees going into hibernation for winter. And I think that we should have some knowledge about trees with us. Get your knowledge. Talking about trees and the change of season and leaves falling down and, you know, the decay, the picture Dorian Gray. It's not specifically a book set in fall, but it is a decay of a man. We see him decay like we see the leaves on the trees turning yellow and then red and then falling down on the floor, on the ground, turning brown. And then a naked tree is all there is. It's bark and twigs, and you know, it's not that pretty anymore. That's what we see Dorian going through. And I love this book. I have always loved this book. This is a gorgeous book. And this book starts in a summery garden, and I took the liberty to actually paint a garden and all the flowers that they describe on this page. And right now it's still summer. It's the beginning of September, so it's still summer. We're not yet in winter, so I think it's a great start to begin reading this book somewhere beginning September and getting yourself through it, because by the end of the book the shift is enormous. We go from all these beautiful descriptions of a garden and like so light and airy, and by the end the book becomes so heavy, and it really reflects how my mood and emotions changed throughout September. And that's exactly what Dorian goes through in a sense. So I think this is a great book to read during this month of September. Again, talking about trees, I also would recommend Gathering Moss by Robin Wall Kimmerer. I also read Braiding Sweetgrass, but I think Gathering Moss was just a little bit better, and it's a season of moss. So when you're out on your walks, because you should go on more walks during fall, because you can't walk that much during winter. It's horrible. So please go get some fresh air, touch some grass, touch some moss. What? But I learned so much of this book. Again, I didn't touch this book itself. I listened to the audiobook while I was on my fall walks, and seeing all the nature that she's describing out there in the forest. Love it. But also there's like life lessons to be taken from the forest, and Kimmerer really teaches me that. As a Native American, she really teaches me how to be respectful towards the forest and towards the inhabitants of the forest, towards nature around me, and learn from nature around me, and learn that certain things are okay. Like at one point she talks about gender within, was it a plant or an insect? I think it was an insect. And it was so interesting the way she talked about it, and I was like, yeah, why can't we humans be, if an insect can do it, why can't my colleague just use they them pronouns? Why is it so difficult for them? I really enough got that out of this book. Great book, lovely book. Next up, to really get that September autumn vibe, we need some academia, because lots of us are going back to school. That is coming up too. School is starting again. School has started for a lot of young people already, but the academias are also about to go back in there. And I recommend The Secret History. It does start in a snowy vibe. The prologue is in the snowy mountains, but the rest of the book starts in September and makes its way to that moment of the unfortunate murder. It's not a spoiler. It's the first sentence of this book. So there's, I have to say, trigger warning. Everything Donna Tartt has trigger warnings, guys. If you pick up Donna Tartt, just know there are trigger warnings. But this is a great academia book actually to read and get back into those September back to school vibes. Don't do what they do in this book though. Don't do it. Don't. We're not picking that up. We're just picking up the vibe of academia. Some dark academia, but I think, is it overhyped? No, it's not. No, it is slightly overhyped. It is a good book, but it's not as good as some people hype it up to be. But I still loved it, obviously, because I don't think I have books with more tabs. I also don't know why I put so many tabs in there. Maybe I should reread it. We'll see. Next up, I have The Essex Serpent, and I'm gonna be very honest with you guys. I remember the vibe of this book, but I don't exactly remember the book itself. So I want to read it again. Now, the book is, it starts at New Year's Eve, and then it goes on throughout the year. So I have like Soooo things in here. Oh, China, like 2017. That's when I read this. Cool, nice. I want to reread it because I remember the vibe that I got from this book, and I think I'm going to reread it because there is a spooky element to it. A lot of sadness I remember from this book, and also some folklore, which I think folklore is lovely. Fall vibes all the way. Folklore, ghosts, a little bit magic, a little bit of creatures that don't really exist, at least I hope. I mean, if someone tells me the monster of Loch Ness is real, I think they said that, didn't they? Is Nessie real? Someone confirm, please. I want her to be real. I think she could be cute, but I'm gonna reread this one and I'm gonna let you know what I think about it. how many years later? 6? Oh, is Yesex's serpent coming to murder me already? Great folklore. Another book that I want to reread is The Outlander. I watched the series, I was obsessed with the series, and everything about this screams autumn to me. So I'm very much ready to read this stuff. It has mystery, it has Scotland, I mean, kilts. For some reason that is very autumny to me. I'm really dying out here. Let me drink something. Wow. Whew. So it's either read this or watch the TV series again for me to get into those vibes, because the forests in here, the clothing in here, oh, I want to knit the little scarf thing that Claire wears when she's back in ye old days, ye old Scottish days, 1700 something. This is fall vibe soon. Becoming sick. That's absolute fall too. It's the season. It's part of the season. You just get the full experience in, you know? But I'm very ready to watch the TV series, I think. I'm not sure if I want to read the book. I'm gonna see how much time I have, because it's a chonker. It's a tome of a book. It is, and I have more tomes in here, so we're gonna have to watch out for this. But I'm kind of excited about this one, so I think I will read it. And then I have this thing. I like children's stories sometimes. I've got some children's stories in here and in here, because sometimes these books they are so simple, the language is so simple, but they're so magical. They bring a magical aspect to everyday things in such simple ways, and I feel like my inner child still does that. My everyday life, it has some magical aspects. Like, I go to the market and I pass the flower merchant, and a butterfly sits down on my hair, and I'm like, wow. Well, good, you're standing next to flowers, but to me that's like, wow, that's so magical. And that's what these books do to me. This is Wildwood, a book by Colin Malloy, I think, illustrated by Carson Ellis, and I love these illustrations. Look at that. That is just gorgeous to me. Same with the inside illustrations. Oh, I love it when they're giving me the vibes, you know. Look at that. That's absolute vibes. But oh god, I don't like hardcovers with like the sleepy pages on it, and I also don't like, they're like, you see that they're uneven. I gotta dislike something about this book, you know. I gotta dislike something, and that's what I dislike. Everything else about this book, gorgeous, 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 gorgeous. Such fall vibes, but it has a mystery aspect to it too. It starts with a very ordinary person, you know, until her baby brother is adopted by a murder of crows. Yeah, and then things get weird. I love crows. I love crows. Crows are such intelligent birds, by the way. But everything about that, love that. So this girl is sitting in a park with her baby brother, and out of nowhere, crows take her baby brother. And that's where it starts. And that's where they go and find her brother. They are in the forests looking for him. All kinds of adventures. Just love, 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 love. And so many pretty pictures. I want to show you all the pictures in here, because they give me such such vibes. It screams fall. It screams, it's almost a September, it's almost a November book, We even meet some kind of queen on a very high chair. Yes, yes, I will read this, but I might read it in the beginning of October instead of September because it's kind of a on the border book, but I will read it. Anyway, now we're at October, and October is absolute spooky season, and I have so many spooky books. Obviously, the Necronomicon by H.P. Lovecraft with all his spooky, weird monster, absolute disgust of stories in there. I like to once in a while just open a random page and be like, ah, the Silver Key, let me read that, because these are all short stories. They are like about 10 pages a story, and they read very fast, but they leave you absolutely spooked and disgusted, and I don't know what the hell that is supposed to be, but I absolutely don't ever in my life want to come across something looking like this. And that's why we love this man, and that's why we also love that they are short stories. 10 pages is more than enough to creep me out, so thank you, P.H. Lovecraft. Another couple that I have are Gothic stories. I love myself some good old Gothic stories. This one has Frankenstein in it. It has Vatek by Beckford in it. I haven't read that one yet. That sounds like a P.H. Lovecraft monster. And The Castle of Otranto by Walpole, which I have read. It's very old. It's falling apart. I bought it secondhand somewhere, and I love the cover. That's what really got me to buy it. That is how every October night should look like. That's the vibe we're going for. So that, together with the Necronomicon, will probably bring me nightmares throughout October. Exactly the vibe we're looking for. I also got into the Fog, the London Fog, which are stories, tales from the weird city of London. And no, I didn't make that up. It actually says it. The weird city of London. Don't come for me, Londoners. But we have a story called In the Seance Room by Lettice Galbraith, which, hell yeah, seances. I love that. Also, they're regional. So this is Kingston. I love that. Temple is where Jack the Ripper was at, by the way. I think I'm saying it like I'm some kind of expert. I'm not. I didn't know the man, so who knows? Maybe I'm imagining it. But I love to visit. I actually plan to visit London this fall, and I really hope to bring this book and sit myself down in a coffee shop somewhere and read a story out of it. That's the plan. Absolute vibes with a lovely scarf. By the way, I am making myself the absolute perfect autumn scarf. I love the combination because it's this is such a sidetrack. I'm sorry, but this reminds me of the color that the leaves are turning into. Wow, can I speak? I had the leaf here. Where did my leaf go? I lost my leaf. I had the exact leaves. Oh, I remember. I put it in the book. Yeah, the color of the leaves. And then this blue is still like the nice weather that we got from summer, because today it's actually 24 degrees. What is happening? It's still summer. It's September, so it's the perfect scarf for the season. It's a marriage between summer and autumn. It's the reason why I'm not a poet. Do you hear that? That didn't sound good at all. Anyway. Also throw in some Edgar Allan Poe short stories, because it's Edgar Allan Poe. Do I have to explain myself? But then we're getting to Halloween, and nothing screams more Halloween than good old vampires. And we have Dracul, not Dracula, Dracul, by J.D. Barker, which is, by the way, there you go, that Chris Stoker. It's a book that is written by the grandson or something of Bram Stoker. That Chris Stoker, that's the story. And it's the speculated last 100 pages of the original Dracula. Now, I read the original Dracula too, and I have to say that this book was amazing. This book is what I wanted Dracula to be, because to me, Dracula by Bram Stoker was a little bit disappointing, just a little bit. I had the same thing with Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. That one was also just a tiny bit disappointing, because I was expecting horror, and that's not what this is. But that is what this is. This is absolute horror. This is what we expect from Dracula. So for the people who love the TV shows with vampires and all of that, and you're expecting a lot from Dracula, the book, I recommend you to read Dracul instead of Dracula, because this one does have all the creepy pasta and everything like that. So read this one instead of Dracula. I think I will reread this one too, because it was such a good one. And then obviously we have Camilla. I love Camilla. It's a cult classic. It inspired Dracula, but it is so much better. It's also shorter. Dracula is a massive book. Camilla is just art. It's where vampires were born out of, and there's a reason. There's a reason. I love this book. Love it. Absolutely love it. Anyway, that's that. And as a last but not least, we have November, in which I will be reading some Agatha Christie. I was looking at reading Stephen King, but I read Fairy Tale earlier this year when it came out, and I was disappointed. And then I also read The Shining, and again, I was disappointed. I'm sorry, Stephen. I'm so sorry. It's not my genre, I think. But we do love some Agatha Christie, and this is the Murder on the Orient Express, which I love. I love the concept of a horror novel, and that you can try and solve it yourself. I think that's what we need in November. Try to solve some problems, distract us from our own current miserable life. But we're gonna read some Agatha Christie. I just took one out of it, but I have quite a lot of Agatha Christie's. I love Hercule Poirot. He's a Belgian guy. Gotta get my country and gotta stand for my country. But I love the Hercule Poirot series. As a child, I always watched those with my dad on the BBC. I'm in love with Hercule Poirot. So it's also Hercule Poirot, by the way, the Murder on the Orient Express. So very ready for that one. I enjoy every single one of those. But then I'm gonna get into what I am reading at the moment. I got a very pretty aesthetic pile. At the moment, I am reading, regrettably, I Am About to Cause Trouble by Amy McNee. That's a funny name, McNee. It's about a woman in the 1500s in England somewhere, who is accused of being a witch by her husband, who was only her husband for a day. And then he saw a mark that she had in between her legs, and he was like, "You're a witch. That mark in your leg, no girl, you're a witch. Not doing this." And she is distraught, and she's looking for ways to save her life. She first tries to save her marriage But a lot of people, a lot of women in the town are constantly asking her, are you sure you want to save this marriage? Because this is a man-child. And he is. He's a man-child. He annoys the living fuck out of me. And I'm screaming at the book, girl, just give him up. Don't do it. You don't need him. Absolutely. I rather have my name and reputation dragged through the mud by this man than to be with this man my entire life. I'd rather be called a witch the rest of my life and live free than to serve a man-child like that. No thank you. But she tries to do the decent ladylike thing that you would do in the 1500s at first, and after that maybe she turns into a witch. Maybe she is a witch. We know. Oh, this is where I put my leaves. See? Look at that. Gorgeous. 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 This is why I love autumn. This right here. I have a lot. I went on a walk and I put them in my book. Oh no, don't fall. And I'm trying to dry them, but now I can't read my book. But I'm in love with this book. It has great autumn vibes, witchy vibes, a lot of feminism. I don't know how accurate it is for the time period. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. But it's a cozy read. It's just a cozy read, and a beautiful cover, and I like it up to now. So I recommend this for the witchy vibes of the season, because this is the season for witchy vibes. Next, I have my favorite writer ever. I don't know if I ever told you, but my #1 favorite writer is Banana Yoshimoto. Banana Yoshimoto. Japanese is hard. I don't speak the language. But this looked like a really nice autumny read. It has ghosts and a love story, and I love that. Near that experience of someone, some betrayal, yeah, you know, blissful everyday life moments. And I love Banana Yoshimoto, how she writes. So it's a couple of short stories. I'm into my short story era. The first one is called House of Ghosts. There's one called Not Warm at All. Dead End Memories. These short stories felt so autumny to me. So I'm very much looking forward to start reading this. I will let you know, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna be the perfect vibes for the moment. I have another Banana Yoshimoto too that I will probably start reading, but this one is, oh, look at that spine. Oh my god. This one is less autumny, but still some creepy vibes, because it's a woman who watches Friday the 13th repeatedly. Okay, girl, I'm watching Bones repeatedly, so I get it. I get it. And then another one I very much wanted to read this season is the Dead Poet Society, to again get that academic in my reading list. Some dark academia. This only in September. You're only allowed to read dark academia in September, and I haven't read this one yet, so we'll get into it. It's a short one. I can still fit it in. There's still 10 days. 10 days in September, guys. We'll get there. So these are my September reads. Maybe not this one. Definitely these two. Excuse me. These are my September reads for sure. These are the ones I definitely want to read for the moment. 10 last days of September to get in the mood. I think these one will bring me in such a good mood. Anyway, I have allergies. Nope. Bless me. Thank you. Whew. I'm so glad that summer is over and my allergies can go away. It was a bad year for allergies, and I'm happy that autumn is coming around, and after that winter, and then it will be snowing, and I'm ready to share with you my winter stack too, because I have a winter stack already out there, and I'm looking for books that snow is a theme. Snow, that's what I'm looking for. So if you have recommendations for some wintry books that I should read, I have a pretty huge pile at the moment already, so but if you have books that have snow as a theme, you can always let me know. Maybe I include it into my TBR for winter, but this was my autumn TBR. I know, it's so small. And also my autumn recommendations and books that I enjoyed the last couple of years during this period. And I hope that it brings you the autumn vibes that you're looking for. Some of them are cozy, some of them are more thrilling and magical. And I hope you have a magical autumn season. Please let me know what you're reading this autumn, if there's anything you recommend. I would love to know. And furthermore, enjoy your day. Have a good weekend. Have a good evening. Have a good work week. Have a good morning if you're starting today. Enjoy the magic of autumn. Bye bye.